Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Buddy and Towser, released in 1934. It's the 74th of the series and it's directed by Friz Freleng. Currently, it's not available on any DVD set. It was available on a VHS and somebody did a pretty good job in capturing it, all things considered, so that's what I'll be using for this review. Hopefully one day it will appear on a DVD set restored, as this one's not too bad for a Buddy short, and I'll discuss why very soon. In case you haven't seen this one, I mean, it's under copyright, so I can't show you the full thing here, but I'm sure you can find it if you look hard enough, really. It's not like it's something important like What's Opera Doc or anything, but essentially Buddy tasks his dog, Towser, to look after the chicken coop, and after some business in the chicken coop, we see a fox is trying to kidnap some chickens. Towser finally wakes up. I guess he's not doing a good job guarding the chicken coop. He warns Buddy, and yeah, they go after the fox. That's pretty much it, so nothing too complicated. I mean, nor should it be anyway. So first you're going to see a re-edit of the original audio commentary I did before I had to take that down due to copyright on YouTube and all that jazz. After that, you'll hear some new thoughts from me. You'll hear from my good friend S.C. McPeter, who just wanted to say a few things regarding this short, and, well, and the conclusion. So, without further ado, let's get into it. You know, this is a little funnier. I mean, look at this. Like, how does he turn off the gas light there? Of Showerhead. I mean, what else? And especially with all this snow outside, that water would be pretty damn cold now, wouldn't it? Yeah, as a parent, I can sort of relate to this, you know. One of my kids needing to go to the toilet and trying to get my other kid to take him to the toilet and and not being happy about it. What's interesting with this short is that Buddy doesn't even do anything until about halfway or thereabouts. We just see all these funny little animated gags with the, you know, chickens and the ducks and all that stuff, and then we see the fox. But I do have to say, once we do see the fox, I do want to talk about it because it's actually quite interesting. But in terms of Friz Freleng cartoons, I mean, he's known for his timing, and it definitely starts showing here just how good he was at timing to the music. But I have to say, a lot of this stuff, until we finally get Towser coming into it and then Buddy coming back into it, it definitely feels like a lot of fluff. It does go on a bit too long, in my opinion. It's not terrible or anything. The fox as a villain is interesting because he completely outwits our main characters. You know, there's no, like, he's not taught a lesson or anything like that. It's just the fox just, yeah, wanting to, of course, eat the chicken, and Buddy and Towser just can't seem to deal with that fox. And then it just ends. And I like this. This is definitely a Looney Tunes gag. It's unmistakably Looney Tunes. I mean, the dog just goes around and around, and the fox just sits there. Oh, look. We're reminded it's a Buddy short. See? I like the sniffing gun. Like, everyone talks about how Tex Avery, Bob Clampett changed things, and they did. There's no arguments there, but I would say there's definitely some interesting things in these early ones too. Like, look at this. Like, he shoots the bear and just multiplies. I mean, it's not something that you'd really see too much in a Bosco. And then, of course, this. Zip. See? Very much Looney Tunes. Very Looney Tunes. Of course, they reuse this sort of a gag from Bosco where it's just, the gun's just too powerful, but that's fine. I mean, it's forgivable since Friz worked on those Boscos as an animator, so of course he's going to use what he thought had worked at the time. And those are my original thoughts, and, you know, since doing that commentary, I of course watched all the Buddies, and now I'm going back and redoing all these reviews, so it's interesting to see these in a new light, and I gotta say, this was definitely one of the better Buddy shorts, and there's even some interesting things in here that show off promises of things to come. You know, probably a good example is the whole gag where Towser's, you know, running around the barn and got the fox just sitting there in, like, I guess, Similar to the sort of thing Bugs Bunny might do, that kind of thing, tricking his adversary. So, in this case, yeah, just this dog ain't too bright, is he? And no, I'm not going to point out that Buddy appears to be a prototype Elmer in one part. No, Elmer was definitely not a glint in anyone's eye at this point, but if you look at him, it's like, someone will just say, oh, that was a prototype Elmer. No. He just has the same hat. And that's something that he gave to Elmer, I guess. But anyway, in watching this short, first of all, it's interesting that Freeling seems to get rid of Buddy for most of the shorts, similar to what Clamper will do with Porky in some of the late 30s shorts. But here, we see Buddy doing this really funny, ridiculously convoluted bedtime routine, which I know I mentioned in the commentary track, but that's going to make one awfully big mess. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I found myself chuckling at it, just over just the stupidity of it. But anyway, it was pretty funny. But this is also a great example of timing, and it's not just with Frizz. I mean, if you look at the Fox walking to the music, for example, that's a great one, and of course all the chase scenes. But it's not just for Frizz, but it's also for the other directors at Warner Brothers that will come along. Frank Tashlin and Tex Avery and all that. They'll start getting better timing because that gag I mentioned with Towser going around and around the barn. Look, this particular version of it isn't the greatest because they're still working on timing and that sort of thing. It's not exactly what you'd see later on where everything is a lot more refined, but hey, they got to start somewhere. And look, Freeling has only just started directing not long before this anyway, both in an unofficial, uncredited capacity, and now this is the second short, so nothing's considered as pretty good. And we also see other hints of the wackiness that's to come from the Looney Tunes series, and I mentioned the whole thing regarding the multiplying bears. Like, that's just crazy. That's something definitely that Tex Avery would look at doing, and of course they did close the cave, as I mentioned, as well. And I've got to say the star of this has to be that Fox, because the Fox could have just run away. But once Buddy and Towser are going out looking for him. But no, he decides to be a smartass and just sends the ice projectiles and just to, provoke Buddy and Towser to continue to chase him. It's just an interesting character. And of course, it shows just how incompetent Buddy really is as a hunter. I mean, he's shooting a tree at close range, for example. But anyway, probably my favourite bit of animation in this has to be the effect of the snowballs being split up, how three-dimensional that looks. That's pretty solid, and I like the effect there. But in terms of animation acting, I did point out about the, if you're a parent, you definitely will know this, especially if you have multiple children, about the chicken making one of the chicks take one of the other chicks to, go to the toilet. That's some pretty solid acting there. I wonder if Bobby Kimpson had a hand in that, because he's credited for this short after all, but there's no way to really know. With these really early ones, there's no documentation available as far as I'm aware, but, you do have to wonder if that was the case or not. Oh, and of course, I always love the fact that, the ducks and chickens are throwing their eggs at the fox. Aren't they potentially throwing their young? I shouldn't think too deeply into it, but anyway, whatever. Now, my good friend S.C. McPeter is going to give his thoughts on this short and, make some interesting observations. So, take it away, S.C.
Hello, everyone. This is S.C. talking about Buddy and Towser. Or Trouser, I guess. One thing that really separates Frizz's few buddies from... Well, I guess this one in Buddy's Trolley Troubles from Jack King's or Ben Hardaway's buddies is that he focuses a lot more on timing and gags more than story and animation. Particularly Jack King, who tended to focus a lot more on trying to do unique things for Buddy and trying to do some interesting action scenes. This one, Freeling just sort of goes, well, I'm going to do a funny cartoon with Buddy. And he actually manages to accomplish quite a few good gags, like the whole zipper scene at the cave, the fact that the fox is relieved to get out of the henhouse when he's beswatted with eggs, Buddy used an entire shower to turn off his candle especially. It's a really good cartoon comedy. I was surprised Freeling didn't direct more Buddies, but I guess his seniority with Schlesinger, having worked with Harmon and Eising for the past 6 years and having worked pretty much as their right-hand man towards the end. Must have given him some seniority to Schlesinger, which of course made him a director on their Merry Melodies Color series, or at least it was going to color as Frayling was directing. The big thing about Buddy and Towser that's sort of stand out compared to most of the Buddies is that it doesn't really try to do anything promising. It's just Buddy and his big dog just trying to hunt a fox that's been disturbing their hen house during the winter. Not anything very complex, and I'm sure there's plenty of other shorts involving trying to get rid of a pesky animal like that. The fox is almost rendered sort of like a strangly wolf because it's rendered in black rather than, say, a gray, and with some whites, unlike what most other studios would have done. You can also see, particularly in the expressions of the fox whenever he grins, that Frayling's overall look in his shorts still had a very harmonizing type look, especially with the expressions of the characters, though it was starting to push a little away from that, particularly with how Buddy himself looks. Though everything around him still kind of looks very harmonizing. And of course, with still trying to do things that had come before, Frayling still tries to improve the look of shorts. There's a whole acting scene between a little trick trying to go to the bathroom. Comes off very harmonizing to me, especially with the whole acting, how they keep moving the eyes around. That's all very harmonizing in what Frayling wanted to do. It shows that he still hadn't completely moved away from where he had come from. But besides that, this is overall just a pretty funny cartoon. It has a lot of good gags. Perhaps not the funniest cartoon ever made, but at least for the Buddies, it has at least an unusual amount of gag hit rate. That's all for me this time. There isn't really much to talk about in the Buddies, besides the fact that there are some that are more interesting than the others, like this one. Hope you enjoyed.
So yeah, this one, out of the 3 Buddy shorts that Friz Frayling directed, this one is probably the best out of the 3. I still need to revisit Trolley Troubles, but I remember that one perhaps wasn't as good as this one. But in any case, out of all the directors Buddy had, I still think Earl Duvall was the best, but Frayling would be a pretty close second. It's one of those interesting little comparisons, isn't it? It's just, who is the best director for one of the most blandest Looney Tunes characters of all time. But anyway, so this one gets, 6.5 out of 10. It's fine. You watch it, have a few laughs. You can see that things are a bit raw. They're still figuring things out. It's a brand new studio after all, and they've only been at it for, half a year to a year, give or take. So, the magic doesn't happen overnight, in other words. But if you do get a chance to watch this, yeah, definitely give it a look, and you can see the origins of certain things and how things will eventually evolve to the Looney Tunes we all know and love. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.